Hey there, book lovers. Let's talk about beginner readers and teaching your kids to read. And I'm going to show you some of my favorite books for doing this. I'm a homeschool mom, so I've actually taught 4 kids to read right now. I'm actually in the process of teaching the 4th one. And he's doing pretty good. We just need him to become a little bit more confident. So one of the things that I like to start out with are That's Not My books. These ones are super fun, and a lot of times we think of them as baby books because they're touchy-feely and they're board books. But if you look at the text, it repeats a lot. That's not my duck, its wings are too soft. That's not my duck, its feet are too bumpy. And so because it repeats so much, there's only a few new words on every single page for the kids to learn how to read. And so it's a great beginner reader. So this one actually can last with your kid from very, very beginning baby clear through learning to read. So I love this series for that. Okay, another great one to start out with are these Muddle and Match ones. They have great alliteration, which is going to help them hear those repeating sounds. And as they're learning, they can match this colored background, they can match the animal, or they can match the beginning sounds, or, let me see if I can get it to do it for you here, or they can mix and match and make all sorts of super funny, silly stories. Kind of like Clever Clover the Cunning Cow pushes his way past the pantry door while gabbling gaily to Gordon the Goose. Okay, super funny and silly. Kids absolutely love them, and it's great for learning that alliteration, which is going to help them read because they're going to hear those repeating sounds. All right, so one of the things that I use at the very beginning with my kids as they are first starting to read is this very first reading set. Okay, there's 15 books in here, and I love them for a couple of reasons. If you look at the first book, this is Pirate Pat. Sorry, there's a little bit of glare there. You are going to just use about, I think, 8 letters. And it has a part for the adult to read and then a part for the child to read. It's really, really boring for kids to read books that are just 2 and 3 letter words, right? So having that adult part does a few things. It makes the story so much more interesting. Plus, it creates one-on-one time with mom or dad or grandma. And so it makes reading so much more fun to have that as well. So as you go through the book, it'll have a cute little story, and then at the back there will be these little puzzles, and that way you can kind of see how much your child understood of what they read. Okay, now as the books go through the series, they're going to get a little bit harder, and they're going to start adding more and more letters. By about book 8, there's no longer an adult part to read because your child has learned enough words to create more interesting stories on their own, but we still highly encourage mom and dad to read with them because, like I said, it's great for bonding and it makes reading so much more fun. By the time you get through all 15 books in this series, your child has heard every single sound in the English language. There's 44 sounds, and they have heard every single one in this series. This series was actually put together by experts that did a lot of research before they put this together. And there's even this little parent's guide to help you as you go through this with your child. This is what I use to teach my kids to read. Now, some other things that are fun to kind of add to that are phonics readers, and we have lots of individual phonics readers that you can get, but I love the combined volumes. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. This is Ted and Friends, and it actually has a CD, so kids can hear it while they're reading, which helps, and then it's also a combined volume. Look at all of these stories that are in one book. That's going to give you more bang for your buck right there. These phonics readers are super silly stories with those repeating phonics sounds that are going to help them identify words a lot easier. There's also a parent's guide in the back as well on the phonics sounds in the book. So I highly recommend those. And then the last one that I'm going to share with you is the complete book of Farmyard Tails. Now, this book is the one that got me hooked on Usborne books. It was my first want that turned into a need. So This one is one of my absolute all-time favorites. It comes with a CD that reads the story in a great British accent. And then just like Ted and Friends, it's a combined volume. So it has all of these different books in one. Now the most awesome thing about it is that it's a dual level reader. Oh, let me turn to a page. Okay. So if you have little babies whose attention span is not very big, you can just read this top part and keep going and the story's going to make sense. And then as their attention span grows, you can read this bottom part and it's going to add a lot more to the story. As kids are starting to learn to read, they can read the top and you could even read the bottom if you wanted to do kind of a dual reading time. And then as they get to be better readers, they can read the bottom. So it's going to last for a long time through lots of different ages of kids. And it's great for beginner readers. The other fun thing is that it's illustrated by Stephen Cartwright. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a little yellow duck hidden on every single page. So it makes it super fun for kids to find that duck. I absolutely love this book. And there's some of my top books for teaching kids to read. Let me know if you have questions, and thanks for coming.